Hey guys, I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 8 of Careers Are Weird. Where is the summer going, guys? Tell me how it's July already. I cannot. Please go outside, touch grass, jump in some water, please. Pretend you're in Jamaica. If that's what you need to do, pretend you're in Jamaica, but it is summer. And for the corporate nerds out there, I mean, happy Q3, whatever makes you happy. Guys, this is going to be like some crazy two-in-one episode where it feels like we're interviewing three people, but only two people are on the call. So let me explain, because I know I sound crazy sometimes, but I swear it makes sense in my head. Guest one is Louise Lewin. She's the violin and flute playing, water polo playing girl next door. I grew up with in Jamaica because her dads grew up together and they work together, who's now a speech therapist. Guest two, her voice might sound the same as Louise's, but but guest two is going to be Abbey Wood. She is the alternative pop artist with over 15,000 streams of her newest single, NYC's Dead to Me, on Spotify, who's currently in Los Angeles tearing up Hollywood. Guys, Louise's career is so weird that I feel like I'm going to be talking to two different people right now. And I'm so excited for this because I have been wanting to know what she's up to. Louise, oh my God, we haven't sat down and spoken like this since that time I was like 21 and we met up in Manhattan. What's happening? Where are you? How are you?
Well, first of all, very happy to be here. That was a beautiful introduction. Yeah, when we met, that was a long time ago in New York, and now I'm in Los Angeles, California. Had to get out of the cold. And when I met up with you, I was in grad school or undergrad or
Yeah,
I
grad
don't know.
school.
Yeah, a grad school. Wow. But now I am out of school and I'm a speech language pathologist.
So many
In
words.
so many words.
Speech, language, pathologist. Speech, we know. Language, which one?
English and sarcasm.
Okay. Pathologist, what does that mean? I thought that was like a doctor word. What's pathologist?
So it's basically just understanding language and communication disorders. So speech language pathologist.
Oh my God, that's a whole lot. There's a lot of words in there. What does that
Yeah.
actually mean? What do you do as a speech language pathologist?
So I am a school-based speech language pathologist. So I work in the schools and I work primarily right now with preschoolers up to grade 6. So I work in a school that has gen ed students and also mild to mod severities. So mild to mod disorders and disabilities. So these could be with either kindergartners and they're learning how to say their like R's instead of saying like wabbit, they have to say rabbit. So there is a certain age where kids should grow out of speaking that way. But if they don't grow out of that, that's when they have to see me because then it's considered a deficit or a disorder. So that's on the very mild end. And then on the moderate end, I've had, or even the severe end, I've had, kids who are more medically fragile. So they'll be in wheelchairs and you are, like dependent on the age, you're teaching them like how to say hi, how to give eye contact, um, just how to communicate with their peers. Or if, on the flip side, like my job is a whole scope on the flip side, I have kids who are on the spectrum and they are highly functioning. So really good with whatever like creative skills they have or like math skills or like whatever it is, whatever their special interests are. But once it comes to socialization and having a conversation with someone else, that's where they need me to help them or just to have friends out on the playground. So my job is a whole scope of either teaching kids how to speak or having them knowing how to have a conversation, or those nuances of things that neurotypicals like you and I have never had to like think about.
We've taken for granted. Oh my God, that's so like that's such impactful and powerful work. That's crazy. And I remember because like one of the first things I thought when I think it was your mommy who told me you went into speech therapy is like, wow, that's such an important role that we need. But it's not something I really heard about when I was in high school, thinking of like what I want to be when I grow up. So how did you decide to be in that? Was it early on and your uni studies were like set up to go into speech therapy, or was it like after you started uni you realized you wanted to do that and you tailored things?
So I actually realized from before I went to university. So when I was in like sixth form in Jamaica, or even like fifth form, when I was looking at like things that I'm like, oh, what do I want to do with my life? Um, so I have that background in music, as you know, and my first thought was, oh, I want to be a music therapist because I have that background in music. But at the time, that was such a new field, and to to practice, you'd have to get like a master's degree, and like the pay wasn't, in my opinion, justified in spending that to get a master's for it. So I was just like, oh, let me see like what else is out there. So I knew that I wanted to help people, but not necessarily be a doctor. Like I didn't want to be in a hospital. I didn't want to like be doing surgery or stuff like that. So I stumbled upon speech therapy. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And it's something that I didn't really know about
Well,
either.
yeah, we were in high school, fifth form, we're like 15, 16 years
Yes,
old.
exactly. So one thing that kind of helped that too is I have a cousin who is special needs. And I think growing up and seeing how just like all the needs that he had, I was just like, oh, I want to, like help someone like that one day. So that, and then kind of Googling, like, what does, just like all of these professions, and then stumbling upon speech therapy. And I was just like, oh, like, I'd love to help people talk and express themselves. Just as how I can express myself through like my music and my art, I want to set up kids just to have that basic communication where they could go out and thrive into the world. So I think it's the experiences that I had growing up, seeing my cousin, and also just seeing other like family friends at the time. Like there was one family friend, and um, their child was diagnosed with autism, and I was probably around 10 or 11 at the time, and I thought they said like artism, and I'm like, oh, does that mean they're good at like art? Just being like a kid, just like not like knowing. But then like seeing those marked differences growing up, like, oh, why won't she or he like play with us, in the way that we play. So I think just having those experiences, and then just me doing my research, I'm like, oh, this seems cool. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna do this.
That's amazing. There's a whole career, like, and that's when I say careers are weird, like, how do you stumble upon that? But then you have your life experiences, and that's why we all have different careers because we all have different upbringings. We see different things, and then we start to look for what we want to do in our lives through our own individual lenses. So that's amazing. I'm really like, wow. I mean, in when I was 15, 16, I don't think I would have ever seen something like speech therapy. So very, very cool. And I love the work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, first job after graduating, because I can't imagine that you would go straight into immediately practicing. So like what did you do after you graduated?
So I did my undergrad in speech language pathology, and you actually cannot practice without a master's. I know that there are some states in the US where they do have speech language pathology assistants, but I knew that I just had to go all the way. So after I graduated from undergrad, I went straight to grad school,
Okay.
basically. And then in grad school is where we have like different like internships and externships. So I'd say like my first real role was like straight out of grad school is what we call a clinical fellowship. And that's basically like a year of supervised work out of grad school. And then after you complete that year of supervised work and you pass your like state exam or whatever, that's when you get your full like certification to like practice without being supervised. So that first role was I was in an elementary school in New York, and it was from kindergarten up until grade 6. And I had to like so basically like the first like couple of weeks in a new school is just chaos. So you basically set your own schedule, which is nice, but it's all within the school hours, obviously. But you have to go around to like each class to see like which kid you're gonna get, but then you have to plan your own schedule, but make sure the schedule fits with all the teachers that you're going to pull the kids from so that you're not pulling from a certain time.
Right.
And then you have to have in like your testing time within the hours too, and then also time for like meetings with the rest of your SPED team. And SPED stands for special education team. So
Hmm.
that's working with the psychologist, the occupational therapist, the physical therapist. It just depends on how many needs that certain kid or certain student or client has. But yeah, so like always the first like couple of weeks is just like madness trying to create a schedule.
Yeah.
So technically what I did in that first role is kind of what I'm doing now, but thankfully with more experience. There's like a lot of things in that first role that I'm like, oh man, probably could have written that report a little better or done that lesson plan a little better.
Yeah.
Um,
So, did you have to pick the age group of? Did you have to like pre-declare the age group of people that you want to work with early on? Because like adults need speech therapy as well, right?
yes. So technically for my program, when you're in grad school, that's when you do those externships, but you have to decide early on like what kind of setting do I want. So when I was in grad school, I did a lot of school based, but I also did one private practice to see like, oh, maybe I'll like that or maybe I won't like that. Um, so you kind of know leaving grad school what kind of setting you want to go in. So I have a lot of um, colleagues in grad school where instead of going to a school for their externship, they went to a hospital. And then in that setting is where you do work with a lot of adults. And the hospital, that's more medical based. So we call those medical based speech language pathologists. And they deal with a lot more like swallowing disorders, TBI, dementia. And I just remember in grad school just hated like swallowing and dysphagia. And I'm like, oh, not going there. Nope.
And that is why we do work experience.
Exactly. So that is where like those externships in grad school and then that clinical placement kind of like you kind of decide like where you want to go.
Wow, that's very cool. And I'm really glad you got to like make that decision early on and kind of feel it out as well and not kind of make the decision blind. So
Yes.
so that was your
Agreed.
first yeah. So that was your first job in New York. Now
Mhm.
you said you're doing the same is it the same role but in Los Angeles?
Yes. So I'm Yeah, so I'm in Orange County slash Los Angeles, so like a little bit of both in those two cities or counties, I guess.
All of it's surfer girl Hollywood country for me in my
Yeah.
head.
So yeah, so basically doing the same thing now, but in California. But I'm not a clinical fellow. I have my full certification now.
Fancy.
So yeah, I'm just glad that it's great weather out
Yeah,
here. It's not,
that's
it's
very cool.
cold in New York, and where I am is really diverse. I will say, like, of course, New York was very diverse as well. Just a lot of African American, Caribbean, Hispanic. But where I am in California is also very diverse, where we do have a really big Asian population. So in the school district where I am, I think there's over 100 languages that's spoken in our school district. So I love um, that diversity where like I'll be like with like my students one day and I'll be like, teach like tell me something in Japanese, or like, tell me something in Korean, or like
Oh, you're not that teacher.
I
No.
am, I am. Or like sometimes like I like I had this one student who's just like, oh, I was planting okra with my mom, and I'm like, you know what okra is? Just like stuff like that.
Wow. I would avoid you in the hallways at all costs. Oh my God. Oh, moving swiftly along from that because I told you we're talking to like two people on this. So
Yeah. Yes.
before we finish with Louise, I want to kind of understand though. You're in a speech therapy, oh my God, speech therapy pathologist. Oh God, I got that wrong.
Speech language pathologist.
Speech language pathologist. What is kind of the next thing that you do? Is that like, do you become the senior pathologist? Like, what is next in this type of role?
Honestly, there's no like junior or senior. It's just, the more work experience you have, just the more money that you can make, really. Or I guess the next role would be I am like a couple of years in my position now. So if I wanted to supervise interns coming up, that is something that I would probably see myself doing next. And then be like a super, super long-term thing is probably my own private practice. But right now I'm loving my summers off. So that, that's not, because come private practice, there's no summers off.
Well, private
So
practice, you can set your summers off. But speaking of summer, school's out, isn't it?
school's out.
Okay, so it's summer. The school semester's ended, which means I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure Louise can tell the audience goodbye now, so I can talk to the superstar. That is Abbey Wood. Abby, hello, how are you?
Hello, hello. I am great. Fantastic. Now that summer's out, now I can really thrive and shine.
Right? Because I feel like Abby used to only come out at night, but now Abby can be alive in the day. So welcome to daytime.
Thank
First,
you.
first question for you, Abby. When were you born? Cause what are you, 6 years old? 5 years old? How old are you?
Oh, that is a good question. I was born long time ago, and it kind of just came out of the internet, or not out of the internet, but when I went to London, and just like London is one of my favorite cities. So long overdue on a trip there, and I love Lana Del Rey, and I'm like, where did Lana Del Rey get her name from? Where did Miss Lizzie Grant get her name from? And I'm like, okay, Marina Del Rey. So I was just like looking around, and I'm like, what's a cool name in London, England? So I'm like, oh, Abbey Road, oh, Abbey Wood. I'm like, that there it is. And then I've kind of just used that as my alias, I guess. And that was even before I started doing just like the solo music. That was kind of just like my like internet name on like MySpace and Vampire Freaks and websites like that.
So basically, you're telling me your name could have been Buckingham Palace. Basically.
Basically, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my. Okay. All right. Thankfully, that is not your that is not your stage name. I'm very happy that you came up with something else. So, tell
So I
me
know
now.
some people will be so confused because they're like, oh my God, her name's not Abby?
Yeah, that was the first thing. Guys, when I reached out, so I've known Louise since, well, our parents have known each other since before I was born, because Louise is a bit older than me, maybe 3 years older than me. And so I've known Louise my whole life, right? And I've known her as Louise. And then one day I was looking for this girl on Instagram. Could I find her? Guys, I could not locate her. Let me tell you what I had to do. I had to go to her brother's Instagram. Then I went through, I guess. I can't even like I went to her brother's Instagram. Then I went to his followers and I was like, oh, there she is. I'm like, Abby, who's this? And that's how I first found out about Abbey Wood, because I swear, guys, her name's Louise, right? But I guess it's someone else, and her name's Abby. So anyway, let's get back to character now. So Abby, you were studying full time during the day, and Abby was your entire nightlife. How did
Yes,
you even balance building your name and brand that is Abbey Wood now full time in uni?
no balance.
No
There's no balance.
balance, just vibes.
There's no balance, just vibes. That's it. Um, it would just be so funny. Like I remember in grad school just like busting my balls, staying awake one night, and then like the next night I'd be like, all right guys, I gotta go like sing a couple songs at this venue or this bar. And I would be out and it would be like 2 a.m. and it would be like up on my stories, and then I'd like drag my ass to school the next day. And I'd get through and people would be like, how are you? And I'm like, I don't know.
Did
I
people
don't
at
know.
grad school know about Abbey Wood?
Some did and some didn't. I kind of just kept it on, the DL. I was, the type of student where I'm like, I'm just gonna go to school, buckle my like put my head down and like do my work. If there were close friends, yes, definitely. But it wasn't something that I'd be like, hey guys, this is what I moonlight on.
So then, okay, it was on the DL for a bit. When did Abby get her own Instagram name? Like, when did she come to life?
I don't know. I have no idea. I cannot remember. I think it was definitely during grad school. So before I started doing the solo stuff that I'm doing now, I was in bands and I was the vocalist in those bands, like in and out of bands. So I want to say at some point in grad school, probably. That's when
Okay,
like
was it like a big thing? Like, you know what? I'm changing my name to Abbey Wood on social media. This is it. Or was it like less dramatic than that?
I think it was less dramatic. I think I was just like, this is the persona, and I'm just gonna go with it, and hopefully everyone else, goes with it or adapts.
Fair play. So you've had to do two things. You've had to navigate being a speech language pathologist by day and learn the industry, network with your colleagues in that industry. But you've also had to learn about the music industry and posting to streaming, like getting your music on Spotify, getting it on Apple, on YouTube, but also networking in that industry. Have there
Mhm.
been any kind of overlaps in like how all of that works, or have they been completely left field?
I think they've been completely left field. I know, like when I was in high school and I was, like back to what we were talking about, just between like the music therapy and the speech therapy, I was always just like, oh, I'd rather go into speech therapy because then I could always incorporate music therapy. because I have like a background. But if I was a music therapist, like I don't have the speech therapy skills to incorporate, you know. But I will say at this point in life, there is no overlap per se that I'm like using music in any way like that. So they're right now they're completely separate.
That's fair. And as you've built your brand, Abbey Wood, in the music industry, have you built a team around that? Do you have like, I don't know, the music where it's producers and like sound techs, and do you have a manager and all these things? Have you built a whole ecosystem around Abbey?
So there has been ecosystems that have come and gone throughout the years. I don't have a manager right now. I have been like reached out to by like a couple of people, but I'm kind of not jumping at it right now. But I do have like producers and songwriters who I do work with. Um, and I do have like my core people where I'm like, all right, guys, this is what I have, and we either work over Zoom or in person. So yeah, in terms of like the production and songwriting, I do have those core people, and I have like my vocal coach too. So
Oh,
yeah.
the speech therapist has a vocal coach. That seems very linked up. That's quite cool.
Yes, and it's so funny. My I love my vocal coach, and she's been doing that for like many years, and she just got her master's in speech therapy.
Great. You guys can teach each other.
Exactly.
Oh my God. So I'm curious about this career that you have in music now, because I mean you started with just like moonlighting, doing shows at night in grad school. Now you've got a lot more control over it because you don't have the pressures of day-to-day grad school. You've got like the summer off. How do you grow a career in music?
$1 million question. All right, guys, here's the secret. I'm gonna give you all the secret sauce.
I'll make sure I
Right
give it
now,
a good thumbnail. 6 steps to cracking the Hollywood music industry.
I, you know, wish that there was a secret sauce, but there's no secret sauce. It's like a part of it is luck, and a part of it is talent, and another part of it is just like perfect timing. With, like social media now, I think we have all of the tools to kind of build that following on social media. However, sometimes social media following does not equate to real fans. If you want to put out a show, that's very different. So there's so many things that you have to do. So there's social media, then you gotta, like whatever city you're in, start doing shows at like those like local bars, open mics, build that up so people in your community know who you are. Then go out to the next one, the next one, the next one. But simultaneously doing that with your social media as well. And then just like making those connections with other artists, artist managers, songwriters. Um,
That's a lot of people to navigate.
yeah, like if you see an artist that you really like, say, hey, maybe can I like do a show with you? So stuff like that. And then also just in Hollywood, you got to look out for all the leeches, and because that is
That's
another thing.
showbiz, baby. That's
That
basically,
is
yeah.
that is showbiz,
Oh my God,
like
you're in Hollywood. You're in Hollywood. Do you actually see celebrities on the street? Is that a thing?
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Oh my God, that's so
They're
cool.
not, they're not okay. So for people who don't live in California, like Hollywood itself is dirty. Like no one really likes Hollywood. But like West Hollywood, Beverly Hill, yeah, like so yes, you will like walk around and see like celebrity. I think I saw like Madison Beer 2 days ago
Okay.
at the farmers market. And then I saw like Anya Taylor Joy at the Grove a
As long as
couple.
you don't bump into Taylor Swift, I will be able to contain myself. I'm a Swiftie. Everyone who's listening to this would know I'm a Swiftie.
Oh,
A big one.
I know that you're
I'm,
I know.
I'm a big one. So is that what Abby's doing for the summer then? Going to shows in the community, lots of open mics. Is that your summer plan?
Yes. So my summer plan is, well, actually, primarily I want to finish shooting the music video for NYC's Dead to Me, and that is going to be towards the end of July. It's like mostly shot, but we're like finishing up these last scenes, and I'm so excited
Ooh,
because
scenes. It's a movie.
it is going to be a movie. It's taken so long to like get this last bit done, and it's been like so frustrating, but like finally it's all coming together. And this is just another thing, like when you don't have a manager or like a full team, it's just like I have to get the band together and the videographer and the BTS photographers and to feed everyone, and it's like a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I have the time to do that now. So the music video, just like pushing out a lot more content on my TikTok.
Oh, I'm so glad you have the time to do all of that now for the summer. And I think that's just the benefit of being in the school ecosystem and getting those breaks. Like, I wish I had a break right now because I don't understand how I'm supposed to go from having summer all my life to not having summer. Like, I go to the office right now. It's July and I'm going to work. And I'm very confused and my body is confused. So I'm really happy that you have that break. So, Abby or Louise, but Abby, before we let you go, where can the fans find you and when can they expect new music?
So they can find me on Instagram and TikTok, and my handle is the Abbey Wood. So that's TheAbbeyWood. So that's on Instagram and TikTok.
And I'll link it
And
up,
you can,
guys.
thank you. And then you could find me on Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal and all those other streaming stuff under Abbey Wood. And when to expect new music? That is a great.
Yes. No, 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 no. Don't go Rihanna on us. Like, yeah, yeah, soon. I'm feeling something. So no, no. When are we getting new music? You have the summer to give us new music. Don't let the school year start without new music. If you need a manager, I'm available, by the way.
There'll definitely be a new music video. So that's exciting. Very first music video. New music maybe in the fall. I do have a song that's kind of ready to go.
Okay, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore.
It's very
I can
ironic because
I can do backup vocals as well, in case you didn't hear.
yeah, I may have to get you on that for the remix, like a little Lord Charlie XCX.
I can also rap. I'm actually a very good rapper.
Oh, I can't rap, so I may need
Okay.
some of your skills.
Anyway, we digress. The new music, the song in the fall, let it go.
It's very ironic that you say "let it go" because the song kind of is about letting a certain person go.
Let them go. Yes.
So all of you listen, you're gonna get a little tea.
Yes, let them go and get that check. I love that for you.
So it's just kind of managing, my, I guess, like feelings around that and being like, all right, we are going to release this in the world, release that person. But you guys will hear more about that. So you know what? In the fall, it's gonna be this year.
Oh my God, guys. Just go to her Instagram and comment on every post. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And like force her to release the song. That's the plan,
Yes, if
guys.
you guys
Everybody.
bully me, if you guys bully me into it, I will do it. Okay? Sometimes bullying works. So
Guys, you know I don't need to be told twice. We're about to blow up her Instagram. This is gonna be so much fun. We're getting a new song before the fall. So this is not my new mission. Now I have a goal and a task and an activity. You should never have given me a goal, a task, and an activity. I love those things. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh my God, Louise, Abby, the two of you, thanks for joining me on Careers Are Weird today. Um, Jokes aside, this has been really, really
We are
cool.
very happy here.
We. Oh my God. Honestly, it's been very cool though because your career, first of all, it's so unique. It's one of those things where the world needs it. We need speech language pathologists. But I don't think there's enough education at the younger level, like us at high school, to be like, this is an actual career path to go into. So that's so cool. And you've shown such a light on that to kind of tell people that, hey, this is a really cool career to go into. And I'm like, I think as I watch the demographics of the podcast, I'm realizing some younger, like uni kids are kind of listening. So that's really cool for them. And for Abby, I mean, the lessons in time management that this girl has for us is unbelievable. And it's funny because like you go from preschoolers and kindergartners in the day for work to like big wig Hollywood guys at night, and you kind of like have to communicate with so many different people. I think your
Yeah,
career is the definition of careers are weird. And that's exactly what the name of the podcast is. So thank you so much for being on here and just talking about it so candidly and so openly.
of course. Thank you for having me. This was very fun.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy you said yes as well. Guys, I will link everything to, well, you won't find Louise online. Apparently, Louise is not online. You will find Abby. So I will link everything for Abbey Wood, TikTok, Instagram. She's not on LinkedIn, guys. I found that out today. I was not impressed, but TikTok, link. TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify. I'll link up everything for Abby. Go listen to her new single, NYC is Dead to Me. Go comment on all her posts to let it go so we can all have some new music. And until next week, until next Wednesday in the new episode, stay weird and stay ambitious, my friends.